It's 2:17 a.m. The world around you is silent, but your mind? Wide awake. Thoughts racing, looping, repeating. You've adjusted the pillow a dozen times. Switched positions like a restless traveler searching for comfort. Stared at the ceiling, then at the clock. Minutes feel like hours. And the harder you try to fall asleep, the more alert you become. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. But what if I told you that you can actually teach your brain to relax, even when your thoughts are spinning like a carousel at full speed? That's exactly what happened to Marion, a sharp, kind-hearted woman I met not long ago. Marion is 68, and like many people, she believed poor sleep was just part of getting older. One evening, over a quiet cup of chamomile tea, she told me something I'll never forget. "Louis, I can't remember the last time I drifted off without a fight. Every night feels like a battle I can't win." Her mind would light up the second her head hit the pillow. Memories, worries, regrets, tomorrow's to-do list, conversations from years ago. You name it, her brain played it on repeat. And every night, the same cycle. The more she tried to force herself to sleep, the more wide awake she became. The room would stay dark, her body would feel tired, but her thoughts just wouldn't let her go. Until one night, everything changed. Marion learned a simple method, not a pill, not a gimmick, but a way to signal her brain that it was safe to let go, safe to relax. And for the first time in years, sleep found her, soft, easy, and natural, like a calm wave washing over a restless shore. And that's why I'm here with you. I'm Louis, and this is Better Aging Advice for Elderly. Real stories and science-backed habits to help you age with strength, clarity, and confidence. If you're tired of sleepless nights, you found the right place. Hit subscribe, and let's start building your personal plan for peaceful, natural sleep, starting tonight. Method 1. Why your mind won't let you sleep. Marion spent years believing her sleepless nights were just part of growing older. She told herself it was natural, part of her body slowing down, her energy wearing thin, and her mind refusing to settle because, well, that's just what happens with age, right? But the truth is, it wasn't her age at all. It was her brain, trapped in the wrong gear. You see, the human brain is a creature of habit. During the day, it's programmed to stay alert, engaged, and reactive. Whether you're reading the news, holding a conversation, solving a problem, or simply navigating through your daily routine, your brain is in day mode. In this state, it's scanning for threats, cataloging new information, replaying past conversations, and preparing for future ones. This state of mental alertness is hardwired into our biology, and it has helped humans survive for thousands of years. But here's the problem. Your brain doesn't come with a built-in switch to power down when the world around you quiets. If your mind doesn't receive the right signals, it keeps running in the background, long after you've dimmed the lights, fluffed the pillows, and closed your eyes. You stay stuck in a loop. Your body aches for sleep, but your mind spins on, chasing unfinished thoughts, old worries, and new concerns. And for many older adults, this loop gets even harder to break. As we age, our natural melatonin production, the hormone that tells the brain it's time for rest, begins to decline. This makes it harder for your body's internal clock to enforce sleep, even if you feel exhausted. Combine this with an aging nervous system that reacts more strongly to stress, and you've got the perfect recipe for restless nights. Small worries feel bigger, little frustrations linger longer, and once the cycle starts, your mind can feel like a runaway train. Marion once described it in a way that stuck with me. It felt like my body was waving the white flag, but my mind was still marching in circles, wide awake, holding me hostage. But here's the part that gave her hope, and it should give you hope too. This isn't permanent. Your brain can be trained, even after years of sleepless nights, to switch gears. You can teach it how to move from the overthinking, problem-solving mode of the day into a calm, restful state that welcomes sleep. Because here's the truth. Sleep isn't something you force. It's something you allow. Once Marian understood that, everything began to shift. She stopped fighting the sleepless nights and started guiding her mind into rest, step by step. And in the next few methods, I'll show you exactly how she did it, and how you can too. Method 2. The power of muscle memory. This is where Marian's real breakthrough began. She had spent years lying in bed, trapped in her thoughts, hoping sleep would just happen. But the truth is, your mind and your body are in constant conversation, and most people only focus on the mind. When I introduced Marian to something called progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR, everything started to shift. It's a method so simple, you can do it in the dark with your eyes closed. No devices, no pills, just your breath, your focus, and your own body. The idea is rooted in the science of the nervous system. When your muscles are tense, your brain interprets that as danger. It keeps you alert, on guard, and wide awake. But when you actively relax your muscles, you send the opposite message. I'm safe. It's okay to let go. Here's how Marian did it. Lying comfortably on her back, she'd start with her toes. As she inhaled, she would gently tense her foot muscles, holding that tension for a few seconds. Then, on her exhale, she'd release the tension fully, feeling the difference between tight and relaxed. From there, she worked her way up: calves, thighs, stomach, chest, hands, arms, shoulders, neck, jaw, all the way to the top of her head. One muscle group at a time, she was teaching her body to relax on command. And the results were more than just feeling calm. Research shows that PMR activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your brain responsible for rest, recovery, and deep sleep. It lowers cortisol, slows your heart rate, and tells your mind, the day is over. You can let go now. Marian described her first real success with this beautifully. It was the first time I actually felt my body sinking into the bed, like I was part of the mattress, instead of floating on a sea of anxious thoughts. It wasn't instant, but night after night, her body started recognizing the signal. Tense, release, relax, drift, and slowly, her restless nights began to disappear. Method 3. Why counting backwards silences racing thoughts. Once Marian learned how to relax her body with progressive muscle relaxation, something interesting happened. Her muscles were calm, her heart beat slower, but her mind still wasn't ready to sleep. Thoughts would creep back in the second her body let go. Little worries about family, old conversations, the grocery list, appointments, the future, the past, on and on. That's when I shared a trick that sounds almost too simple to be real, counting backward from 100. At first, Marian laughed. That's it, counting. But she was willing to try anything, and what she discovered surprised her. Lying there, she started counting backwards. 100, 99, 98. Slowly, no rush, just steady, even numbers. And here's why it worked. Your brain isn't wired to focus on two things at once. It can either feed your anxious thoughts or follow a simple, repetitive task, but not both. By choosing to count, Marian was gently guiding her mind away from overthinking and toward rhythm. A quiet, predictable rhythm that signaled safety, calm, and sleep. This simple act nudges your brain waves out of the fast, alert state known as beta waves, the same waves that run wild when you're overthinking, and towards slower, sleep-friendly waves, alpha and theta. These brain waves are associated with relaxation, creativity, and a peaceful state just before deep sleep. Marion later described it perfectly. It was like my brain ran out of room for worry, and sleep sneaked in through the back door. Sometimes she wouldn't even make it to 85. Other nights, she reached 50 before her thoughts softened and her body drifted away. But night after night, the same pattern repeated. The more she counted, the less space her mind had for worry. If you've ever laid awake, tangled in your own thoughts, you know how powerful even one quiet, uninterrupted moment of peace can feel. And the next step Marion learned? It gave her the ability to invite that calm feeling on command, like flipping a light switch. Method 4. The breathing pattern that tells your brain it's time to sleep. Once Marion had trained her body to relax and learned how to quiet her thoughts, there was still one missing piece. The final step that truly helped her drift into sleep. And it all came down to something we often take for granted: breathing. She told me one day, "Lewis, I never realized how shallow my breathing was until I actually paid attention." That's when I introduced her to the 4-7-8 breathing method. It's simple, almost too simple, but once Marion made it part of her nighttime routine, everything changed. Here's how it works. Inhale through your nose for a slow count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Then exhale gently through your mouth for a count of 8. That's it. Repeat the cycle at least 4 times. Now here's why it works. This technique directly taps into your nervous system. When we're stressed or overthinking, our breathing naturally becomes short and shallow, which only feeds anxiety and restlessness. But slowing down your breath, especially with a longer exhale, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's built-in rest and digest mode. Your heart rate drops, blood pressure lowers, your body shifts from survival mode to relaxation. Marion noticed it right away. She said, "I felt like my body understood the message before my mind did, that I was safe, and I could finally let go." The real secret is in the exhale. Long exhalations act like a direct signal to your brain. You're safe. There's no threat. It's okay to power down. Some nights, Marion combined her muscle relaxation, backward counting, and 4-7-8 breathing all together. And often, before finishing her 4th cycle, sleep would sneak in quietly. And the best part? Once this pattern becomes familiar, your brain starts recognizing it as a sleep trigger, like flipping a switch that turns off the noise and welcomes in calm. It became her personal invitation to rest, no matter how busy her mind felt when her head hit the pillow. Method 5. The sleep ritual that trains your mind for rest. The final piece of Marion's journey wasn't a single trick, but a shift in mindset. She had always thought of sleep as something that should just happen, like flipping a switch the moment her head hit the pillow. But night after night, her restless mind proved otherwise. One evening over tea, she said, "It's like my brain didn't know what was expected of it. I'd turn off the lights, but my mind kept going." That's when I explained the power of a sleep ritual, something most of us had as children but lost along the way. Think back. As kids, bedtime wasn't just lights out. It was a series of calming, predictable steps. Pajamas, a bedtime story, a dim room, a parent's voice growing softer. All those things weren't random. They were cues, quietly teaching your brain. This is the part of the day where we let go. So Marion created her own adult version. Every night, she followed the same sequence. She dimmed the lights at least an hour before bed. She turned off the TV and set her phone aside. No bright screens, no news headlines. She did light stretches, the same ones I'd shown her for muscle relaxation. She practiced her 4-7-8 breathing, allowing her body to slow down. Then she read a real paper book until her eyelids grew heavy. At first, it felt awkward, almost forced. But within just a few weeks, her brain started catching on. The moment the lights dimmed and the screens went dark, her thoughts began to settle. Stretching and breathing became physical signals to her nervous system. It's time to let go. This process is known as sleep association. It's the brain's way of linking habits and environment to a specific outcome. The more consistent the ritual, the stronger the association becomes. Marion told me later, "It stopped feeling like a struggle. My mind knew what was coming, and sleep stopped resisting." That's the hidden truth about rest. It isn't forced. It's invited. And the invitation begins long before your head touches the pillow. Marion once believed that sleepless nights were simply her new normal, something she'd have to live with as the years passed. But everything changed when she started using these simple habits. Her nights are now calm. Her mornings feel lighter. And that noisy, restless mind that once kept her prisoner until sunrise, it finally learned to switch off. And here's the truth, you can do the same. Even if you've spent years struggling to fall asleep. Even if your mind feels too busy, too stuck, or too wired to settle. You can retrain it, step by step, just like Marion did. Which of these habits will you try tonight? I read every single comment, and I'd love to hear your story. Your words might help someone else feel a little less alone in their sleepless nights too. And if this video gave you even one helpful idea, give it a like, so more people can finally enjoy a peaceful night's rest. And don't forget to subscribe, because here at Better Aging Advice for Elderly, I'm here to help you stay strong, sharp, and joyful, no matter your age.